So what that means is there are specific requirements for each subject, so 4 years of English, 3 years of math. We'll get into that a little bit more. And then students also have to pass the class to receive credit. So not necessarily something that you maybe have thought about if your student is in middle school, but they actually have to pass to move on. Then they need to complete a culminating project. This is commonly known as a senior project. They pretty much do this only in their senior year. They could start it the summer between their junior and senior years if they wanted. Basically what it is, it's 15 hours of community service. You need to log your time, you do some reflection. In about May of your senior year, you do a presentation. The presentation is basically, what did I do for my community service? How does that reflect on me as a person? What did I learn? How does it help me decide what I want to do in the future? That sort of thing. I think a lot of times when people see project, they're like, oh my gosh, what is this project? It's really not that involved. Again, they can do it pretty easily in their senior year. The other nice thing about the culminating project is it's facilitated through either their English class senior year or their social studies. So they'll have someone kind of helping them get through it. And then I believe every building has a culminating project coordinator, so they have someone specifically designated as the go-to. So again, as a parent, if you're like, well, I guess I could email their English teacher or social studies teacher, you can always email the culminating project coordinator, and they would be able to give you a direct answer. And then the last piece is the high school and beyond plan. So the high school and beyond plan is attached basically to our career cruising program. And so, how many parents have heard of career cruising?
The other seminar.
Okay, yay! The other group was like, I don't know. So career cruising is something that the middle school students should have access to if you're students in VPS now. But it's an awesome program. Really gets students thinking about what they want to do in the future. So that's how they complete their high school and beyond plan, because they're thinking about, well, what am I doing now to help me get college and career and life ready? Okay, so you have to do all of these things. You have to do credits in specific areas. You have to do your senior project, and you have to do your high school and beyond plan, and you have to pass state testing requirements. So this is not fun. Something that students have to do, and it kind of changes every year. So for those of you who have older students, maybe who are in Skyview or who have gone through Skyview already, you may know the frustration I think some of us have with state testing requirements, and it's because it pretty much changes every year. So right now, the class of 2018, they have to pass an English language arts exam. So that will be administered in their 10th grade year. Right now it's the HISB. So the HISB is a HISB writing and a HISB reading. Before it was the WASL. They have to pass one math EOC. So an EOC is an end of course exam. Just last year, the requirement was that you had to pass an algebra and a geometry end of course exam, but they changed that, so now it's just one. The end of course exams happen in June. So early June, and so hopefully if a student is taking algebra as a freshman, by the time they get to June, it's an end of course exam because they should have all of that information under the belt and feel really confident about doing well on that end of course. The ELA or the HISB is done in March, like mid to end of March. And then they have to pass a biology end of course exam. There has been some talks about maybe this won't be a graduation requirement, but it is right now. So biology, a lot of our students take it as freshmen. If they want to take it as a freshman, it's pre-AP biology. Then they would test at the end of their freshman year. A lot of our students coming in take integrated science their freshman year and biology their sophomore year. So then they would take the biology end of course exam then. So it's instead of focusing on the year, it's more focused on when you take the class.
For the one math, if they're taking algebra now as 8th graders, do they take it as an 8th grader?
Yes. Yeah, so end of course exams happen attached to the class. So yeah, and then another parent in our last presentation asked, do you have to do anything to bring that up? If it's a state test, no. It is in a state system that we are Skyward, so your parent access. We have Skyward that's specific to counselors. We call it the SIS, the Student Information System. It pulls from that statewide program, and so it's automatic. If they take algebra, and I'll talk about this a little bit on another slide. If they take algebra as, let's say, an 8th grader, if you want to bring that credit up, so to get high school credit, that is a process. It's just filling out paperwork. But if it's for the state exam will automatically be kicked over to us and we can access that. So it's not a huge deal. And then for each one it says, or pass math CAA options, or pass English CAA options. So CAA is the Certificate of Academic Achievement. It's what you get when you graduate. So there are options. If students struggle, let's say, in math, and they keep taking the math exams over and over and just aren't doing well or aren't passing them, we have, for both right now, English and math, a collection of evidence. So the collection of evidence is basically in an English class or in a math class their senior year, the student will put together works that they will submit to the state. The state will look at them, say, yes, you know math, or yes, you know English, and then send it back to us, or they'll say no, and you need to make some changes, or they'll just say no. Usually we get yes, you know what you're doing, because it is facilitated within a class at your school. Sometimes we get the no, and there needs to be some changes, but again, that's not that often because they've had help putting that together. Okay, so the minimum requirements that we have for Vancouver Public Schools. For English, it's 4 years, so 4 credits. Math is 3 years, so it's basically algebra, geometry, and advanced algebra, or algebra 2. Social studies, CWP is their senior social studies. It's contemporary world problems. Depending on what school you end up at, there are some options there, like Skyview offers AP Economics, and we also offer AP Comparative Government sometimes. Hopefully we'll have that next year. US History is a year-long class that happens junior year, and there's an AP option for that at Skyview as well. World Themes happens in your sophomore year. We currently have World Themes, pre-AP World Themes, and AP World History. So lots of options for World. On here it says WSH Perspectives, that's Washington State History Perspectives. If you have a student who is maybe not in Vancouver Public Schools right now and isn't doing Washington State History, they'll need to take a World Themes class that's either World Themes or pre-AP World Themes to get that Washington State History requirement.